One of the most storied game fields in the Dark Continent is the Selous Game Reserve in southern Tanzania. It's massive. It's 19,000 square miles. Now, to give you a point of reference, that's the same size as the state of West Virginia. It's the largest protected game reserve in all of Africa. It's also a World Heritage Site. And of course, it was named after the renowned hunter, explorer, and author Frederick Courtney Selous. Selous was actually killed by a German sniper while he was fighting the Germans for the British in World War I in 1917. And the game reserve was, of course, named in his honor. So with that said about the Selous, let's meet our players for this week. And gentlemen, I think you're both online. Yeah, Tim Herald's coming to us from the Commonwealth of Kentucky, and Dan MacDonald, one of our field producer cameramen, is coming from the tropical paradise known as Harare in Zimbabwe. Greetings, boys.
How are you today?
How you doing, Dave?
I'm doing wonderful, and I spent a lot of yesterday going through this film, and y'all were the ones that were doing wonderful. I've been lucky to hunt the Selous a little bit, but film there quite a bit. And boy, what a wonderful place, Tim! And you put together a really unique group of guys to be on this safari, and this is a little bit different. This is a kind of a group hunt, so kind of take me to the start of that.
It was. I mean, it was a big group, which all these guys have hunted Africa a lot. They've hunted buffalo a lot, really experienced. So actually one day we were all together at one of the conventions having lunch or something, and we just said, we all need to go hunt together. A bunch of those guys had gone to Zimbabwe a few years ago on they called it a Duggaboy hunt. And I wasn't there on that. I think there may have been a couple other guys, but we were all just hanging out and we all get along well and said, we just need to go do this together. So it being in my job capacity, I put the group together, and it was a big group because I think there were 8 of us maybe total. But we just paired off and would hunt 2-on-1. So you got twice the hunting in. You know, you get to hunt your buffalo and be with the other guy when he was hunting buffalo. So it was just wonderful, and getting to go to the Selous and see true wilderness in Africa and all that entails. It was just it was a wonderful trip.
Well, why don't you let's start with who was the outfitter that you booked this through?
This was Luke Samaras, and I mean, Luke was out there with us, and I don't know, he was pushing 80, and he was still out there killing buffalo with us. So, you know, he's been there and done that for decades. So, you know, we knew that we were going to a good area and with a really reputable outfitter.
Well, for those of, you know, it's worth spending just a second on it. You know, both of his parents were professional hunters. His mom was a professional hunter. I think they're like 3rd or 4th generation.
He is, and that was a special part for all of us, you know, was getting to go and hang out at the campfire at night and hear Luke's stories, or at dinner or whatever. And, you know, I mean, he's got more stories than all of us put together, obviously, and we were all just eager to sit there and listen. But he is a legend, and that was a special bonus on this trip.
Dan, had you hunted Selous before?
I can't actually remember if I'd hunted Selous before. I had hunted Selous before. I'd been in one of Harpreet's areas there in the Selous, but this area this area that we were going to was a new one for me. So yeah, very excited, and it was quite nice. I got to do it with Andy as well. So it's one of those nice group hunts that Tim puts together where us 2 brothers can be along for it as well. So yeah, obviously looked very forward to it, and definitely that area was incredible. You know, the buffalo numbers were unreal, so we had a great time there.
Well, look, we'll get some of the other game, but the primary, this was a 10-day hunt, Tim?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the primary focus obviously was buffalo. So tell me a little bit about the buffalo hunting in the Selous.
You know, that was my first time in the Selous. I didn't know that. Around the edges, but that was the first time I'd ever been in the Selous proper, and I was really surprised. The number of buffalo blew me away. We saw lots and lots and lots, and I thought it was going to be more of a Zimbabwe type hunt where when you found some tracks, you got on them and you walked for hours and figured out what was at the end when you got there. But there were so many buffalo there and a good road network. There wasn't a ton of tracking. Now I say that, and that's how I killed the buffalo I killed. But most of the time we just covered ground, and you saw enough buffalo that you could find some old bulls and get out and do a stalk and kill really nice buffaloes doing that. There wasn't a ton of tracking to it, and that was not what I expected of it, to be honest with you.
Okay, well, that kind of sounds like the experiences I've had there. A lot of buffaloes, and I always was impressed by the age class. They've got a lot of they do have a lot of dogger boys. I mean, you see a lot of solitary bulls if you spend enough time in there, and y'all ran into some of those. Well, I don't know what we're waiting for. Why don't we go buffalo hunting? I think the first guy to get a chance to connect was Jay Cohia.
He looks pretty good, doesn't he?
Come on, let's get out and take it.
What is it, man?
Nice buffalo. Old buffalo, anyway. Headed right toward the truck.
Watch your ears.
How are you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good. Nice buffalo. Nice buffalo. So we've seen a really nice kudu earlier, a leopard, a big snake, and now this good bull. It's been a hell of a morning. Sure, you've got it. You chose it. Now you've got it. Good shooting. Excellent. Between the two legs, huh? Here, go ahead. Give him the good news. Excellent. Nice bull. Jay, first morning. That was bloody good shooting. Thank you, sir. Really, excellent. We're back on track. One more. Congratulations.
Yeah, I wasn't there that day, but I remember them
Thank
coming
you,
back
sir.
and the guys showing us the footage of this, but that's what it was. I mean, I think they were driving down an old airstrip and saw him at a distance and were able to get in front of him. And, you know, Jay and that buffalo poison gun of his just made short work of it.
Jay loves to shoot buffalo. I mean, he's very dedicated to this species.
Yeah, I mean, he shoots that big 460 and you can see, I mean, they never hardly get out of sight.
Well, I call that his hat killer because every time, watch right here. I don't think I've ever seen him shoot that damn gun and the hat doesn't go somewhere other than his head.
When we hunt together, I'm his dedicated hat picker upper.
There you go.
I go behind him and I know it's coming and I just wait and pick it up.
Yeah, I told Jay one time, I said, I've shot a 460 twice just because I wanted to experience it. And the guy that owns it said, well, what do you think? I said, I think if a damn buffalo's coming at me, I'd throw it down, see what the buffalo could do. I don't know which one would give you the most the most bruising. But he's paying the insurance there as you want to do that. And
that was a great bull. I mean, that was look at that. I mean, that's a great old bull.
Yeah. Well, we got a lot of buffalo to shoot, so let's go to our second bull, and Mr. Mike Gines from Houston, Texas is up.
Sure. Yes, sure. What you have to say, man? I don't know what you have to say, man. Hippo. We shouldn't get Hippo.
Nice buff, man.
The spine line and the shoulder.
What'd you say, Mike?
This thing is old. Some will grow, this will grow like this, and then grow outward and inward. And that's when they sort of meet together. This animal will never meet together. Okay. Because you can see the rings here. It's already solidified totally. This is just a bit of skin. But he'll never go together altogether. You know, meet together.
Oh, that's old one.
Well, we all know Mike's killed plenty of buffalo and elephants. I don't know what he was using on this trip. It may have been his Jeffrey.
I think it was a Sport 16 Rigby.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Actually,
Well, you probably filmed this. You know more about it than I do.
Yeah, if I can remember correctly, I mean, I would apologize to Mike profusely if I got his caliber wrong, but I think it was a 416 Rigby. But yeah,
It's hard to keep up with Mike because every trip we go on, he's got two different classic rifles with him that he's using that he didn't have the last time, and that's always a cool thing to see what he brings out.
Oh yeah.
Well, Mike's also a very experienced buffalo hunter, and I know you've hunted with him for buffalo on quite a few occasions, and just talking to Mike, he's always up for a buffalo hunt.
He generally makes a perfect first shot, and if they do turn to run off, his follow-up shots on running buffalo are incredible. He can shoot.
I remember this being an old, ancient buffalo now. Yeah, this was quite an incredible buffalo. He was really smooth. We'll get up and see him now.
Well, I flew through a lot of this yesterday, and I didn't see a young buffalo. Every buffalo y'all shot was a mature bull. I mean, a lot of hard bossed old Dugga boys. Some of them wore down pretty good, but yeah, pretty thick cover. But obviously enough he felt comfortable of putting one through there. And
no, that's for sure.
Yeah,
with
didn't go for
effect.
it.
Yet again, that's always a good thing.
Look at that.
Yeah, and again, Tim, just to say, I shot a buffalo with Luke Samaras. I mean, that's pretty damn. Like I said, that's my analogy wasn't bad. That's like saying I got to play around with Arnold Palmer or Jack Nicklaus.
Sure. I know. I was finished, and I went and got on the truck with him. Even after I was finished hunting, I just wanted to go and be in the field with Luke and hear him and listen to him and see. So the last couple of days of the trip, that whoever was hunting, I jumped on the truck with them.
Yeah, boy, I don't blame you a bit. I'd have been doing the very same thing, and that is, there's enough of those guys that we consider golden age guys. They're not Roosevelt's days, but they've been around. The modern golden age, let's call that. Class of guys, the Selbys and Henleys and Doug Moores and guys like that. There is just something magical about, you walk right out of the pages of a book and all of a sudden you're sitting next to this guy. And I'm not a guy that gets intimidated, and intimidated is not the right word, but just a little bit. I get around these guys and I'm just a little bit in awe because, man,
those
I'm
guys
sitting by a
saw
legend.
an Africa that we never did.
That's,
they hunted in it, and it's not there anymore, and it's never coming back. And they have seen some things over the years.
Well, next up is Guy Gorney, who happens to be one of my favorite guys on the planet. Guys hunted with Guy several times, and man, it's a guy that he grabs every bit of fun out of the day.
Can you put a shot?
Shoot the what?
Put a shot by the spine side, a little bit to the right, you're going to the heart.
How's that, man?
Thank you. Like it, no muss, no fuss.
Well done, Jerry.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Very nice buffalo.
Very nice looking buffalo.
Yeah?
I thought we were going to break off.
He is a pleasure to be in camp with, or at dinner with, or anywhere you can be. He is a absolute gentleman, and you can see right there, he's a buffalo killer too.
Well, I see he's still hunting with his trusty Trijicon AccuPoint scope.
Yep.
And I've never known a guy to shoot anything other than Trijicon. He's pretty dedicated, just like I am, to that brand, and for good reason. And I assume I remember this is also a very nice buffalo.
Yeah, I think this may have been, I mean, I'm going by memory, but I think this may have been the widest buffalo that we killed on this trip, and definitely an old guy.
And, Tim, one thing you can really tell, and part of it is because of the enormity of the area, and the game seemed very relaxed.
Yeah. The only thing I remember being spooky there, and correct me, Dan, if I'm wrong, were the eland. They all seemed to be moving, but everything else was not pressured. And like you said, it's huge. They're not hunting it to death, and the animals are pretty chilled out, which makes it
I'm going to make you eat your words on the eland deal here in a little bit in spades. So remember, he just said the only thing really, really spooky there is the eland. So we'll show you what Tim Herald knows about eland here in a minute.
That's obviously nothing.
but anyhow, hold
He's
on.
running. He's running.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that very clearly.
And that is a horse of a bull.
That's for sure.
He's as
Andy
wide
and
as the
Jay were
truck.
together. I remember that.
Yeah, it just trotting down the road, just like he's headed to the feedlot. I mean, and look at the neck on that thing. God almighty. Hey, I had a guy hunted, 21 days in the Selous that on a hunt I was on trying to get an eland, never got one. And there's that one. Just you might have been able to get a saddle on that one if you'd have given him a little bit more room. That was a hell of a bull. All right, well, since we're on Buffalo and you're the star of the show, Tim, you might as well get in on the action here. I think it's your turn.
90 meters. At the angle he's at, the others are both sitting down now. At the angle he's at, we'd have to go this way for you to go into the point of the shoulder. He's at a very good broadside angle, but there's some stakes. If you can slowly get to these, very slowly, inch by inch, and then see if there is a window, you can use that as a rest. Yeah. Go behind this one first, and then lean it against the tree. Good. When you're ready.
Drop. Some hot barrels. I can't even break this gun down right now.
Big up, Mr. Tom.
Thank you. Way to shoot, man. Well done. Hey, buffalo hunting. It's addictive, huh? I think we started talking 6 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a long
I'm
time
real
to
happy to have you on board, Brian.
There's a lot of running and shooting and beautiful Selous buffalo.
Yeah, this was actually a pretty hard won buffalo. I think we messed around with these buffalo for like 5 hours. And it was a deal that we saw some buffalo from the truck and bailed out, and they got away, and we started tracking them. And then some bulls split off and went one way, and we followed them and lost them and got back on them. And then it ended up being, I don't remember, maybe 3 of them. And they were bedded, and you can see this is pretty open Miembo stuff.
Yeah.
And I was hunting with my double, and I just told the guys, everybody brought doubles, and nobody used them. So I'm going to throw that out there to all the guys that were on the trip. They all brought them, and nobody would carry them to hunt with. They all brought their scoped rifles. So I only brought my double. And I said, I'm going to use it or nothing. And we got, I think this was about 95 yards.
That's a poke.
And we were just out of cover, But I had that Trigicon RMR2 on there, that little red dot. And when I threw it up at 95 yards, it settled right in there on that black hide, and it just didn't look like a hard shot to me. And I remember telling Ryan, I said, I'm not going to shoot if I'm not really confident in it. And I tucked it back in behind his shoulder and was able to hit him the next shot or whatever. And, you know, this is probably the smallest bull that was taken on the whole hunt, but it was a great hunt. It was about 5 hours. It was 95 degrees. I was burning up, and I got to kill him with my double. And he's a good mature bull. He was nothing huge, but I would take him every day, and I wouldn't take anything for the experience.
Look at that, boss. Well, I like the point you made about, the RMR. Look, double rifles, a well-regulated double rifle is generally, and this includes the one that I own, more accurate than the guy shooting it. Because, especially, look, they're made, primarily, to be a stopping rifle. Professional hunters of the old days carried them until they ran out of ammunition for them. But, there's been such a resurgence, and I credit Hornady with that, for addressing that and bringing back all the Nitro Express, the most popular calibers. But the RMR, and it doesn't do anything to ruin the classic lines of a double. And I don't ever laugh if a guy wants to put a little 4-power scope on them, but it just kind of takes away the classic lines. But that RMR is such a tiny unit. It's yay big. It fits up there, but it is a game changer. Like you said, 9,500 yards on that, and you couldn't have walked up there and stuck the barrel against that buffalo and shot him in a better spot. It just gives you such a leg up on open sights and a small front bead. It is a game changer in the double world.
Oh, for 100% for me. I mean, I can't really imagine shooting much without it. 50 yard would be my absolute max shooting iron sights. My eyes aren't that good. And I took that double with an RMR when I first got it on a plains game only hunt, just to get used to it and learn to shoot it and learn what it would do and what I could do with it. And that first hunt, I mean, I remember shooting a Gims buck at 120 yards and just collapsing it. And it's like, and you're not aiming high or you're not, lobbing one in there. I set mine up where it's on at 50 at the range, and at 100 yards,
same.
I just point and shoot, and it's right there. It is a game changer. I wouldn't want to hunt without it.
No, I'm right there with you, brother. Well, since John's apparently had such a good time shooting his first buffalo, he decided to shoot a second one. And I think we're back with Buana Michael here.
That's awesome. Those guys, they had some great bulls in front of them. Look at that you talk about relaxed. I mean, that bull, that's, I mean, there's some stuff there, but that's pretty open to be able to see like that.
And an old bull, a veteran bull, not a young guy.
For sure. That just says a lot about that area. But, yeah, that one doesn't have a chance against Johns standing there broadside.
No, that's a bad career move for Buffalo.
Yeah, look at that.
That says it all.
Yeah.
Now, I would get your thoughts on this. I'm pretty dug in on my opinion. Being in on a bunch of them. These buffalo here are not. They're considerably. Maybe that's the wrong word. They are definitely smaller in body than the big bulls down in the valley, and a little bit further south, the bodies on these things get bigger. I mean, look, there's no such thing as a small mature buffalo,
right?
But they don't. They're Dan, you throw in there. You've seen as many buffalo shot as anybody. I mean, you agree with that?
Yeah. Do you know what? I've found some pretty interesting things with buffaloes. Sometimes you in an area where they shouldn't have the biggest bodies, and you end up also sometimes finding an absolute monster. I think you've seen that also. We've seen it quite a lot in Uganda as well, Tim, with some of those buffaloes. They can have these tiny bodies, or they can have, these absolutely massive bodies. And I've had mixed kind of feelings on that idea with some areas where generally you've got smaller, and then some big boys can just come out of
Yeah.
nowhere as well.
Yeah, there's
So,
always an exception to every rule.
yeah. But yeah, no, generally I would have said they weren't the biggest bodies. And I mean, going back to that one of Mike's first one, you can see some really when they're getting a lot older as well. Some of those old lone boys are, not in the greatest condition either. So, yeah, we were shooting some old, over the hill buffalo.
Well, I don't know our next hunter personally. Where is Casey from, Tim?
Casey is from New Mexico.
Okay.
He lives, I can't remember the little town that he's close to. I think it's an hour or something for him just to get to town. He lives out on his own ranch, and he is just a super down-to-earth, nice guy, serious about his shooting, about his guns, and about his loads, and he loves to hunt buffalo. He's hunted with Charlton McComb a few times.
Okay.
He's been friends with all this crew for many years, but I got paired with Casey to start with on this hunt, and he was just an absolute joy to be out on safari with.
Well, he is on deck right now. Looks like they're on some tracks.
Let us take it.
Get the shot ticket.
Shoot him.
Samani? Bueno.
Let's go closer.
Congrats on a beautiful buffalo.
Just a long day. We started out from camp and drove to the far side. And then we seen buffalo after buffalo after buffalo after buffalo. We said, this is number 15, and we finally got the one we wanted. Lots of walking, too.
Yeah, I remember this buffalo because if it's his first one, because when we first saw it, he said something about, you think I should shoot that buffalo? And I was like, oh, I don't know if you should shoot it or not, but if you don't, I will. so he decided that he would go shoot it.
Yeah, he read between the lines on that pretty damn quick.
Yeah, and look at that thing.
Yeah, he just took that bullet hard.
Yeah, and Casey killed two great buffalo on his trip.
Okay.
And he shot a number of plains game animals too, and that was another thing about the area is it had quite a bit of plains game.
Yeah, a lot of hartebeest.
Yeah.
Yeah, now Ryan was obviously his PH.
Right.
Yeah, that one's just doing that locked leg stance that they get.
His head's down. He's done, but
Dead on his feet.
Yeah. But that's the right thing, boy. As long as they're standing, you're shooting.
Yep.
100%.
Yeah, and it's funny. I've gotten some critical comments over the years when we do these videos, and you'll shoot a buffalo right, and then you shoot it again or a third time even, just because it's on its feet. That first shot went through both lungs. It was dead. But to me, when somebody criticizing you shooting a buffalo again, if it's on its feet, they've never hunted one, or they don't have a lick of sense.
Because could not agree. They've never carried. I'll tell you, we've carried some guys out of the bush dead in blankets, and you do that, and you realize, the truth of buffalo. You beat him up while you have the opportunity, because he will do that to you when he has the opportunity. Look at that thing. That thing is like polished glass. That may be my favorite bull that was killed on the trip right there. I mean, yeah, he's wide too. He's real. That's an exceptional Selous buffalo. Yeah, just polished.
I know Andy filmed that one because I would have remembered that one as well. Eh?
Yeah. Well done, Mr. Casey. Well, like I said, buffalo was certainly the main goal of the safari, but like you said, Tim, there are some other things there. One of the great prizes of the Selous is an animal that you only find there, and that's the Nyasaland wildebeest. And I think Russell and Casey, we'll throw some pictures up later, but they each shot a really, really nice bull. And I know Russell in particular said, I talked to him before the safari. He said, yeah, I'm really hoping to get a Nyasaland, wildebeest, and he sure shot a beaut. Both of them did. And I think
Casey did, and he shot Lichtenstein's hartebeest,
yep.
I believe. And there were a few other things. But, we were just on a 10-day buffalo hunt, so our license didn't allow us to shoot everything.
Right.
But we saw lots and lots. I can remember a couple of big kudu bulls that we saw, and we just didn't have license for them.
Yep.
Or the same thing with sable and that eland that you had up on there. I mean, everybody was, willing to trade a buffalo tag to get to shoot an eland like that, But we saw tons, and then, the guys filled out a lot of the tags that we did have.
Yeah, I think the first critter found on the safari was by Jay, and it was a Boone and Crockett puff adder. I mean, I was scrolling through there. I said, now there's puff adders, and then there's puff adders, and by God, this one was a record book snake, and I'm glad nobody. Yeah, you'd have all kind of trouble if that thing got a hold of you. But you guys weren't really the only thing hunting buffalo on this trip, as we found out. And I don't know, y'all ran into a pack of 3 male lions. Was that you, Dan, or was that Andy filming that?
What I can remember, it was me, because I remember spending a lot of time up front with Luke as well, which was such a great experience, learning and just getting some of his stories. But we had quite a few of these young males that were hanging around. I remember there were some in camp. And then obviously we ran into these 3 that took down, I can't remember if it was a cow or a bull buffalo, but they had a bit of a go at one. So we went out and, looked at the carcass, which was pretty cool. But just so nice also to see, lions. I mean, obviously they're not the most relaxed, but ones that are willing to sit and look at you, and, proper wild lions. Youngsters, but up and coming, to see
but just to see 3 males together there, and that is, that's you say they're not too relaxed even for that age class of lion. That's pretty damn relaxed. And then I think you went a little bit further here and found what they'd been up to this morning. I don't know whether you saw the birds or what, but you found what those 3 lions had for breakfast, had started on anyhow.
See the lion run off and they heard the vehicle. You see the hit mark, the hair, main hair from the lion.
And the lion started at the back.
There's old Luke giving his opinions. Shame, he was such a nice guy. We really enjoyed spending time with him. So nice to obviously see what they were up to as well. So yeah, quite nice to get out and inspect. And I know that there were some bite marks on their necks and everything. It's quite cool to, actually see it without, just seeing some bones lying down on the floor. So
Yeah, no, absolutely,
cool.
absolutely. Now, y'all had one of the coolest encounters that we've captured, and Dan, that is saying something. I think it was with Ryan one day. He wanted to walk into a water hole and just, take a peek, see if there was anything on it, maybe cast around looking for tracks. And you wanted to see what they could see. And damn,
Is this the Hippo pool?
Oh well.
Yeah,
Now
this is
that I forgot about the Hippo, and we're at the first. Yeah, the Hippo pool. Now that wasn't what I was talking about, but it's worth talking about.
Talk about a shitty life.
Nasty mess. Pretty cool. Walk back in here to a hole that's still got water in it in this little creek or river, and it's just packed with hippos in the middle of these hills. But can't get it on video, but you should smell this. And there's a bunch of hippos in one little spot. That was pretty cool. It's worth the walk over here.
That is
That was crazy. I mean, we were up in the hills, and actually we could smell it before we got there. But this old dried up place in an old creek up in the hills. I don't know if it was a spring seat, but all these just tons and tons of hippos were pulled up in there where it was so dry. And you can imagine by looking at that what it smelled like. But
yeah,
just absolutely, there's a big river system there. And that's where you think all the hippos are. It's a mile across in some places. And then this little dried up thing up in the hills, and it's just full of these huge hippos. It was crazy.
Yeah. So what's the closest? How close was the closest big water to there? Look at that.
I mean, it was miles.
Okay.
It was absolutely miles. And why they weren't in there, none of us could figure out. But I guess they just stayed as it shrunk and dried up from the rainy season, and were kind of pinned in. I don't know. It was crazy. Now,
guys, that was fairly cool. And now we're going to go to damn cool. And this is one of the neatest pieces of video and some shocking animal behavior. But I think Orion was walking into a water hole one afternoon and said, let's just sit up here and spend a few midday hours, just seeing what might come in. And so they were sitting there in the bush, and something came in. A male leopard, and this ended up being one of the coolest things we filmed in a long time. And I think it was Andy, your brother, Dan, that was filming this. But
Andy filmed it. It was incredible.
But anyhow,
I know I was jealous. I wasn't there either that day. I'd gone on the truck with Luke, and I was so jealous that I wasn't there.
This guy comes in. He's just, he's going to lap up a little bit of water, and there's no better place to stage an ambush for a hungry leopard in a water hole. And he, gets in there, but he's sitting over there by himself. And Andy always he's got a little drone about yay big, and he keeps it with him at all times. And he said, well, we've got a lot of footage of him just lounging around. He said, let me run that drone over there. You weren't hunting him, obviously. And he got his drone airborne and just went right up into his face. And I guess this thing thought it was some kind of annoying bird, but those little grass huts. It looks like a pop-up blind for a leopard. But yeah, he zipped the hell in there, and he's looking at this thing and thinking, what in God's name is this pestering thing that's buzzing around me? It's not a, but how cool is that?
That was, like you said, I mean, out of all the footage you guys have gotten over the years, that's absolutely got to rank way up there at the top on just unique and how cool, and that the thing just sat there, and the drone must have been within a foot of it. I mean, that was awesome.
Yeah, and stayed for a while. I mean, he wasn't panicked. He was more, confused about what is this? I've never run into this before. We found out over the years, you run a drone up by Buffalo, they take out of there like Secretariat and the Belmont. I mean, I'm sure it's because they believe it's a swarm of bees. And because those African, buffalo and elephant both just moving through the bush, they got plenty of experience of, rubbing up against a tree that's got an active beehive in it, and all of a sudden they get swarmed. And I can tell you, buffaloes, they hear that drone coming, and shit, they're in the next county as quick as they can get there. But didn't bother this guy. And we found out the other thing, it doesn't. Now, if you run it down the bank at a crocodile, that crocodile's in the river. You go up high and bring it down, you nearly land it on his head before a crocodile will react to a drone. Well, just for whatever that's worth today. But
if it's a really cold, windy Zambezi Valley day, they will not get into that water for anything.
Yeah,
you can nearly land it on them.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
Well, boys, I have truly enjoyed kind of a, for me, trip back into memory lane, going to a really special piece of Africa. And the Selous is exactly that, and even more fun. Lots of reasons to enjoy the safari experience, but one of them is doing it with really good friends. And to see a group of characters like this all get together, I cannot even imagine how fun that hunt was and that campfire was every evening.
Yeah, it was definitely one that's special to me, that sticks out. I mean, just a lot of good friends and stories and all the experience there. Then having that group of PHs and having Dan and Andy, who become good friends of all of ours as well. And it was just like having a whole bunch of your buddies meet up 8,000 miles from home.
Yeah.
So it was an experience that I would love to repeat, but I don't know that we'll ever do it.
You are truly one of our industry's been there, done that, guys, and really understand to help, folks that are looking for some help put together a hunt that they're going to be happy with and satisfied with. You'd look a long time before you find a better guy than Tim Herald, and I appreciate you, brother. And
I appreciate you saying that, and we are here to help. So don't hesitate to give us a call.
And I always say about Dan and Andy, the heartbeat of this, people call this thing a podcast, and we're just starting to call it a digital series, and it's really doing well. We've developed a really loyal, following, and we're doing lots of things to expand that. As you may know, our app is online now, and not only can you see the Safari Classics TV episodes like we're doing, but there is a ton more that's involved in that app, including television shows going back years and years and years, specials, short films, all kinds of things. I put a ton of articles and stuff that I've done over the years that are Africa-centric, and the Safari Classics app, and I'm hoping you guys will both be on it, because it is it's really trying to pour everything we've learned in the last 30 years of doing what we do into one central spot, and I think it's going to be a big hit. But you fellas are definitely a part of it.
Well, thank you for having us as part of it.
Well, as I say every week, we've got some people that are discovering this. This will be the first episode they see, and if you like this kind of African safari adventure TV, please do two things. That makes sure that you never miss an episode. We let you know when the next one's going to be, but you got to hit like and you got to hit subscribe. And everything that I just told you about that app and more is out there ready for you right now. It's going to be kind of a one-stop shop, and it is all 100% dedicated to the modern safari experience. So until then, thank you for being a part of this one. We'll see you next week right here on Safari Classics TV.